I just want to put this out there. I've been seeing testimonies online for months now, and I felt the urge to do it. I hear all these amazing testimonies, people getting out of really bad spots in their life and then coming to Christ. And then I look at mine and it's the opposite, but something's telling me that even though it feels insignificant to me, that someone out there might be able to relate. So if you guys would like to sit in and listen, you are more than welcome to. So in my dream, at that time I was actively trying to look for a place to stay because I could not live in the world that I was living. So in my dream, I was walking down the road and I came across an abandoned apartment complex, and I was looking at it and I was thinking, man, it would be so nice to have something like that. This place looked busted, and suddenly I turn around and my dad is standing there. He was not there before, and he told me, well, come on, let's walk through it. And I told him, it's abandoned, it's busted. And he goes, so? And my dad, for anybody who knows him, he does not do stuff like that. He is not into going and looking into haunting stuff or anything like that. He never has been, and I don't blame him. But at this time of my dream, I was dreaming that he was telling me to go in. Well, we walked in and I'm following him, feeling kind of weird, not knowing what's going on. And as I'm following him, I look off and I'm seeing and hearing these figures trying to reach out and grab me. And my dad says, pay attention, look at me and follow me. And as I do, as I'm looking at him, that stuff stops. I stop hearing and feeling those things trying to grab me. So eventually we find ourselves in this room, and there's a staircase that's going down. And somehow he's already at the bottom level, and he's telling me that I need to jump because it's broken and there's a pipe or something like that that's sticking out, and I was scared that I was going to hurt myself. Well, I asked him, can't you just catch me? And he said, no, you have to do this for yourself. Well, even though I was scared, I jumped and I ended up hurting myself. I cut my arm or something like that. Well, I was on the floor and I was crying, and my dad looked down at me and with a very stern voice, he said, you need to get up. You need to get up right now, get up. And that little girl in me, my dad being stern with me like that, I was crying and I was wiping my tears away. I stand up and he's looking at me. And then shortly after that, somehow we wind up in another room and my wound is gone and I'm focusing completely on him. We're standing there somehow, and he has this vase that he's pouring water into a cup. And a question was asked. The question was, what is the meaning of life? And I knew the answer. I did, but for some reason I did not want to give the answer. The answer is to serve God and to spread the gospel. Well, I said, I don't know. And my dad looked up as he's pouring this water into this cup. He's giving me that look like, really? And it's funny because my dad does do that. And he's like, well, you know better than that. And as he's saying that, the water that's being poured into the cup turns red. How they talk about Jesus turning the water into wine. And that's when I'm looking at him and I'm not registering for some reason that he just done that. For some reason in my head, I don't know what's going on. Somehow we wind up outside of the building and we're walking and we wind up in this very beautiful place. I wish I could draw it. Genuinely, I've tried, and there is nothing that I can do that will emphasize just how beautiful this place was. So it's like being on the beach. If anyone has been near a beach, it was similar to that. But it was so bright, you could see the light glistening off of that water. And it was so extremely loud. To me, what makes sense to me in my head was birds and the waves that were so loud. But I look back at it now, the birds that I was thinking that were singing, it wasn't birds singing. It wasn't. And I'm standing there and my dad's on my right side, and we're talking about something I can't remember, and I'm looking out and I'm at peace. And I miss that peace so much, that feeling that I got. And somehow I end up reaching over and I hug my dad, and the moment that I touch him, I realized that wasn't my dad. It was not him at all, but instead someone so much better. But he looked like my dad, but as soon as I touched him, I knew that it was not my dad. It changed everything, and I did not want to let go of him. I wanted to just hold on to him. As soon as I felt him in my arms, as soon as I touched him, he physically looked like my dad. He spoke like my dad. He was my dad physically. Spiritually, he was not. As I'm hugging him, I do not want to let go of him. And he places his hands on both of my shoulders, and he quite literally pushes me off of him. And he's holding me with a firm grip, and he's saying that I have to go now. And I don't want to go. And before I know it, my feet are quite literally moving me away from him, and I'm looking back at him. And he was telling me that it's my turn now to go on and do what I need to do. And I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. And I'm walking, and then I wake up crying, the same pain that I felt having to leave. I woke up crying because I had to leave. And at the time, all I knew is that I had this beautiful dream that felt so real, and it was so more colorful and bright than any dream that I've ever had. And I look at it now and I realize there's little parts in it that are trying to wake me up, telling me to stay focused. Why I would look off and I would see and feel things trying to grab me. It was because I was being distracted, and he kept telling me to focus, follow him. And then me having to take that leap. And even though I hurt and I wanted to not get up, he made me follow him. The message behind that to me was that even though you might fall and you might hurt, you have to get up. You don't have time to sit here and cry. You don't have time to sit there and feel bad for yourself, because you're not going anywhere. If you do, you're not going anywhere. And then standing there before that calmness that I have ever experienced in my life, there is nothing on this earth that has ever touched half of that calmness that I felt. It feels so weird crying in front of a camera. I hate crying in front of people in general, but this dream, it resonates with me even till this day. It resonates with me in a way that I can't even put into words.